What's up, guys? I'm Osmic, a content creator for Dead or Alive lore and trivia, even though circumstances have slowed me down for a while. Today I want to talk about something interesting regarding the current state of Team Ninja's mandate as far as their existing IPs go. While Tokyo Game Show came and went, with plenty of games to look forward to, whether they're all new games or an update to long-time existing IPs such as Fatal Frame, and I'm happy for those fans, Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive were missing in action. Well, at least as far as fighting games go for the latter. But even with this setback, we can rest assured that they're not being abandoned. In little over a week after Tokyo Game Show, news publisher Video Games Chronicle held an interview with one Fumihiko Yasuda, the director of the upcoming Wolong Fallen Dynasty. When asked about continuing older IPs like Ninja Gaiden, this is what he had to say. In general, we're very happy that there are so many fans of these existing IPs, and because there's this big fan base out there, we have a desire to please those fans. We're so happy that people are big fans of our existing series, and so there's that feeling of wanting to create a new entry in those series. But a lot of it is about balancing that desire to create these new games for these big fan bases that some of these existing IPs have, along with seeing what kind of resources there are within the dev team, seeing what kind of skills the current members of Team Ninja have, and then deciding from there if what would work for a particular series. Would that work for an existing IP, or would that be better suited to a new IP? We're really happy there are so many fans, and we want to make a new title for those existing series, but it's all down to seeing if that's a possibility, and if there are skill sets there in the team to make use of that. The interview was then followed with a question about outsourcing games to other developers, or leaving it to younger teams in-house, which he responded, "We're not announcing anything, but both of those ideas sound like great plans and are both possibilities in a sense. Those are both very, very reasonable ideas for potentially a sequel in any series, not just Ninja Gaiden. But what I want to say is, if we were to theoretically work with another company on a new Ninja Gaiden title, we would need to make sure that it would be a title that the fans would really enjoy and exceed their expectations. It's not just a matter of, hey, let's just go do this. All the pieces would need to fit, and it would need to be the right team, either a younger team internally or another company that would really need to fit the Ninja Gaiden pedigree. I want you to keep this in the back of your mind for later. Before we continue on, I want to make clear that my thoughts and views are personal, and I don't speak for all fans. I also want to make clear that I have no inside info about Team Ninja, nor those in the past who were once involved. Everything I'm about to say going forward is purely wishful thinking, speculation, and quite possibly controversial. That being said, let me speculate. The latest interview with Team Ninja is by far the best and the most reassuring I've read in a long time, especially for DOA fighting game fans. Could you imagine the current Team Ninja keeping the same energy for DOA as they intend to do for Ninja Gaiden? The possibilities are endless, but at the same time, Team Ninja was no stranger to outsourcing before. This has also been the case for one Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z. You know, the one where Ryu Hayabusa was the bad guy, and you were playing the bad guy? No? Well, I don't blame you. It wasn't well received, and has long since been forgotten. Dead or Alive 6 was also outsourced, but didn't do as well as Dead or Alive 5 at its time in the sun for reasons we have covered many a time before. But for every Yaiba and Dead or Alive 6, there's the unexpected success that is Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Vacation from DMM Games. Which leads me to my next question. If a Dead or Alive fighting game is to be outsourced, what would be the right team for it? And what pieces would need to fit for the game to be successful? With Yohei Shimbori gone, there's no one left that's really pushing for a Dead or Alive fighting game to be greenlit, which means that Team Ninja may have to go back to the source of where its world and character started. They'd have to consult Tobunobu Itagaki. At present, Itagaki is the head of Apex Game Studios. Whether the company name was changed from Itagaki Games the year prior, I don't know for certain. Apex Game Studio is mainly focused on Web3 mobile NFT games, which is quite new and frowned upon by gamers. Itagaki's latest up-and-coming game, Warrior, is slated for a first quarter release next year. But even if we take Itagaki's current mandate into consideration, let's be optimistic. NFT sales have been on the decline, and a lot can change in a few years. Who's to say Itagaki's interest won't change in between that time? It's not like folks are expecting a new Dead or Alive fighting game next year, or even a year after that with the range of competition in fighting games. If we're to take Team Ninja's interview with VGC at face value, quote unquote, all the pieces need to fit. And one of those pieces is timing. With Street Fighter 6 all but guaranteed to take the world by storm next year, and the possibility of Tekken 8 and an unconfirmed NetherRealm Studios title, which could take place in 2024, there's plenty of time for circumstances to change. And in the best case scenario, Tomonobu Itagaki's interest in Dead or Alive could be rekindled one day. Could you imagine the current Team Ninja working together with the creator of Dead or Alive on good terms once again? This would easily generate hype for Dead or Alive 7 on levels we never heard of. Wait, Wait, I just remembered. There's a good chance Dead or Alive 7 won't happen, at least not on Itagaki's watch. Remember my Kokoro trivia episode a while back? If you do, then you know exactly where I'm going with this. If not, well, you're about to find out. If Itagaki were to take an interest in developing a Dead or Alive fighting game again, I believe more than anything that he wanted to see his original vision for Dead or Alive 5 through as he intended. And with that, I may have opened a Pandora's box which may unintentionally divide the fan base as we reach an inevitable topic. Yes, it probably would make more sense to move forward with a Dead or Alive 7 or even update Dead or Alive 6 to a more feature-rich title for current-gen consoles, but in my opinion, a chance to see a different take on Dead or Alive 5 by Itagaki himself is just too enticing, especially when you consider the direction the current story is taking. Here's why I think the Itagaki cut of Dead or Alive 5 is a good idea. 1. Dead or Alive 5 is still regarded as one of the most successful and fondly remembered Dead or Alive fighting games ever, with a lifespan of 5 years of ongoing updates through 2 console generations. Behind Dead or Alive 3 is the second best-selling game in the series overall, including its iterations. 2. Itagaki has proven in the past that he knows how to market his games to a Western audience, which is where most of the player base for Dead or Alive fighting games are. Whether it's through trailers or a TV spot, there's at least something memorable for those growing up in the early 2000s that entice people to play. With the right motivation, he can do it again. And 3. After the little we learned about Dead or Alive 5 through a written prologue and an interview, it's safe to say this story of Dead or Alive 5 is a completely different beast from the one we got, which is more than enough for the people to be engaged. And if films such as Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is a night and day experience compared to its theatrical Joss Whedon cut, can prove to be a success, why can't Itagaki's version of Dead or Alive 5? Of course, this is all assuming the best case scenario of Itagaki working with Team Ninja. There are also cases where it can go completely wrong. 1. It's been 17 years since Itagaki has developed a Dead or Alive game, let alone a Dead or Alive fighting game. And it's just as possible that Itagaki's motivation for making one just isn't there anymore, and in this case, his development team may not be the best choice. 2. Itagaki's development team focuses on NFT games, and his new philosophy may bleed into or contradict with Team Ninja's current mandate, which could also make his development team a less than ideal choice. And 3. Even if the Itagaki cut of Dead or Alive 5 was to be greenlit, there's still the possibility of the 2 post-Itagaki characters Mila and Rig being removed or replaced, as they were part of the official story. And believe it or not, they have their share of fans, though not as many as, say, Marie Rose, Honoka, or Neo Tengu, whose popularity is just too big to ignore at this point. However, they play no direct role in the official main story of Dead or Alive 5, so there's a good chance Itagaki will leave them alone at least, I think. At the end of the day, I stress once again that this is my personal opinion as far as outsourcing a DOA fighting game goes. Do not take it as fact nor gospel. Maybe the younger in-house devs might surprise us with new, fresh, and enticing ideas despite things not working out with Itagaki, assuming they ever consider working with him again to begin with. Who knows? Until that day comes, we as fans can only wait and spread positive awareness about Dead or Alive. I'm Osmic, and I'll see you next video.